Okay, so pregnancy yoga. This isn't gonna be like a training into how to teach pregnancy yoga, because that's a training in itself. But this is, you might get people that come to your class that are pregnant, and some, you know, it's your call whether you accept them or not. You know, it's because I normally would, if it's my students, I've taught quite a lot of pregnant people over the years. And, you know, so a lot of my pregnant people have been because they've been with me for a long time. But I have had people saying, all right, I'm pregnant, I'd like to come to your classes. But I will say to them, you know, yeah, there's different contraindications, but I think it's preferable and it's better for pregnant ladies to actually go to pregnant, so prenatal and postnatal, going to that specific yoga class. So I would point them in the direction of, pointed them in the direction of Julia at the Haven, but they don't do yoga anymore because of COVID, or Sandra Cook, who I think she's ended up moving. She's going to be, she was supposed to move to Spain, but again, COVID. But you would guide them in the direction of a specific pregnancy class, I would say. Insurance-wise, first trimester, you're not insured. So, and also, it's always an unsafe time as well. You know, coming from, you know, I've miscarried 3 times, and I've never blamed anyone or anything on it. It's just sometimes it's not a good time. But sometimes when people are going through a hard time, they look for a reason, and you don't want to be them to think, well, it must have been that yoga class. So keep yourself safe, keep others safe. You know, the first trimester, the first 12 weeks, don't teach because you won't be insured either. Second trimester, the ladies tend to be a bit more energized. Sometimes mostly the nausea, the fatigue, and that's when they're meant to be blooming. I must admit, my 2 pregnancies, I wasn't blooming. I thought an alien had taken over me both times. So it's okay to include sun salutations and warriors and stuff like that. But, you know, you'd have a shorter stance with like triangle warrior 2. You would have your legs a bit more wider apart, so more like a train track as opposed to heel to instep, because you're really wanting to stabilize the pelvis. So this is for Deborah that's here as well today. For you doing wide-legged standing postures, train tracks as opposed to heel to instep, and shorter stances. And from doing standing forward bends and even Tadasana, your legs are a bit wider apart. And it makes sense. It's just that stability, and also keeping your hips, you know, everything all, you know, safe and stable, and creating space. You really want to create space too. So third trimester, this is when fatigue kicks back in, but this is due to the lack of sleep, hormonal changes, you know, and I'm very much at that stage. I had to bite the bullet and phone the doctor today and be put on HRT. I've been trying to go along the you know, the natural thing, but you know, the lack of sleep and the hormone things, it's taken its toll. So I can like empathize with that. But there's also they're carrying a heavy weight around, and they could possibly be feeling anxious about what's about to happen to them, which is, you know, it's pretty yeah, you know, I'm not going to go any further with that. Don't want to put anyone off that wants to have children either. So if it's third trimester, you really have to just be aware that there's going to be more alternatives and modifications used. Postnatally, this is an increased likelihood of injury. You're not going to spring back into, so especially if somebody comes to you and said they've just had a baby, they definitely shouldn't be with you 2 weeks after, you know, maybe 6 weeks after, but, you know, if they've had a C-section, they've had any sort of abdominal stuff, or forceps delivery, 12 weeks, just to keep them safe and keep you safe as well. If they have had a C-section or anything along, you know, that's really, you know, abdominal surgery, you know, even like a abdominal hysterectomy, like myself last year, you stay away from spinal flexions and spinal rotations. no big back bends. It's really, it kind of makes sense. No deep hip openers as well. You really want to keep it, try and get everything to come back in. So this is like from recovering from hip surgery and stuff like that as well. Okay, so if you're teaching pregnancy, prenatal yoga, this is for you teacher people here. I would say you would do about 8 minutes or so. This is kind of averaging, just looking at how you would sequence it. 8 minutes warm up, spine, shoulders and hips, you know, more of an emphasis. 12 minutes kind of standing sequences. 4 minutes wall stuff. We're going to do some wall stuff. So make sure, well, there's always going to be a wall near you. If you're in a house, there's normally walls. I've been having weird dreams about having no walls in my house. I don't know what that's about. There's doors and a roof, but no walls. I don't know what that's all about. So after you do about 4 minutes walls things, 5 minutes sun salutations, and they're not going to be different sun salutations. I'm going to show you tonight. And you're using it as a transition down to the floor. 8 minutes or so floor work, maybe 5 minutes pranayama and pelvic floor stuff. You're really trying to get the pelvic floor to start working again. And then about 8 minutes shavasana. Okay, so that's where we're at with that. Okay, so we're going to begin. Now, if you want to, you can start with sitting on blocks, lots of blocks, or no blocks. It's whatever is comfortable for you and comfortable for the pregnant lady. I'm going to teach you a general class, so this is going to be, you know, for all stages, just because, you know, so it's more of a generic one, but I'll kind of guide you along the way here. Okay, so we're going to start by sitting with our back straight, our shoulders are back and down, tuck the chin in slightly, close your eyes and really just start to connect with your breath. So lovely breath for pregnant ladies. We work with, you know, as yogis, we tend to always breathe through the nose. Ujjayi breath is actually quite warming. Now, because there is a lot more blood flowing through the body as a pregnant person, they're going to be like getting overheated anyway. So this is a breath that's calming and soothing. It's called golden thread breath. So you're breathing in through the nose and gently out through the mouth, as if you're blowing out a golden thread. So you can even visualize this golden thread. So breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, really slowly, deeply, gently. So just really connecting with where you are today, what's going on for you today. Not getting attached to any emotions or feelings or thoughts. Accept them though, you're not stuffing them away. You're going to validate them. They're yours to own, but you don't have to act on anything. Observe them, always be the curious observer. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders. We're going to begin with Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. Again, this brings balance into your body and just allows you to settle. It also helps with anxiety, you know, all this rushes of hormones. And, you know, with this whole thing going on with COVID and nobody knowing what's going to happen next, this is like the go-to. It helps to balance Ida and Pingala, your two of your main nadis as well. So you're going to have your your right hand, and use your ring finger and your thumb, and the way you remember it, what stage do you block off the nostrils after every inhale. I'll talk you through the first few rounds. So breathing in through the left nostril, blocking off the right nostril. Block off the left nostril, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Block it off, breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left. Block it off and continue. Find your own rhythm, smooth it out and slow it down. So the next time you breathe out through the left nostril, drop your chin and inhale, bring your head up. So we're working with a mudra. We're going to do a yoni mudra flow. So your yoni is from the tantric and the yogis. It's our ladies' parts. There we go. So yoni mudra flow. The yoni mudra is this. So we're beginning in with Anjali mudra. So your shoulders are back and down. And you're just generally flowing with the breath, allowing the breath to be natural here. So this is how the flow of the Yoni Mudra flow goes. You're taking your hands down to Yoni Mudra in front of the movement area, inhaling to take it up. Then from here, exhaling into cactus arms. Inhale, exhale to go one way. Inhale back to the center, exhale to go the other way. And then from here, open up your palms as if to receive. And then taking that energy into your womb area, as if you're taking healing into the womb area, back into Yoni Mudra, taking it back up into Anjali Mudra. Keep your shoulders and your jaw relaxed. So we'll do this a couple more times, okay? I'll talk you through it. So moving down into Yoni Mudra, taking your hands up, and then hands down, going to one side, going to the other side. Open your palms up to receive, and then take that energy into the womb area. Take all that healing into the womb, coming back into Yoni Mudra and back up into Anjali Mudra. So we'll do that a couple of times on your own, okay? And work with the breath, just whatever feels natural for you. Closing your eyes and just bring your awareness into the difference in energy. And then opening your eyes, releasing the hands down and gently dropping that right ear down towards that right shoulder, relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your jaw, breathing into that left side of your neck. Take your head back up to center, drop that left ear down towards your left shoulder, breathing into that right side of your neck. Take your head back to center, looking over that right shoulder, opening up the rib cage with your breath. And as you exhale, allowing it to drop back down. Looking over the other shoulder now, really opening up your lungs. And take your head back to center. Take your left hand down to your left side. Inhale, right arm's coming up and over. Look over that right palm, drawing that left shoulder away from your ear. Nice big stretch. Just feel that stretch along the right side of your body. And then releasing. Let's go the other way. And then releasing to come back up. Interlace your fingers. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, take the palms to face upwards. And then exhale, bring it back down. So let's work with this a couple more times. And then you can either stay sitting on this block or remove the block or whatever you've got. It depends on where you're at, what your pelvis is doing. You're coming into Upavista Konasana. So this is upward facing angle pose. Okay, and from here, all you're doing is, you're dependent on how large their bump is, you're just slowly coming forward. So this isn't yin yoga, so you're still flexing the feet towards you. You're still engaging the legs and extending through the spine. So you're not checking out here. Tucking the chin in slightly for Jalandhar Bandha to protect the cervical spine, and just breathing into where you are. So you're not coming really far, so it's not, you know, it's not about, remember, it's not about the shape, it's about, it's the function, not the form. And then slowly coming back up. We're going to move onto our hands and knees now. And then from here, moving into gentle cat-cow. So really moving slowly and gently. And it's okay to work with the bandhas here, because you're working with, so keep going with that, you're working with the transverse abdominis, your TVA muscles, which are actually hugging the baby in. You're actually going to be, so we don't want to do curls and, you know, ab stuff, but this is like, we want to hug the baby in and keep that all nice and held in. Okay, so coming back into neutral spine, and we'll work with the pelvic floor when we're doing this now. So what works best is, because when we breathe out, our diaphragm comes up, it also lifts up the pelvic floor. So we're going to breathe out and lift up the pelvic floor and breathe in to release. So some of the movements we're doing tonight will go against the hatha yoga mind, because we're used to breathing in to do stuff and breathe. You know, we're going to do some movements where the neurons of your brain will go, that's not what I usually do. So working with the inhale and the exhale, as you exhale, draw the pelvic floor up. Inhale to gently release. So it's not strong movement. You're going slow, steady, stabilizing. You're hugging the baby in. Make sure your jaw and your shoulders are relaxed here. Then from here, you're going to look over that left shoulder so you can spot your bottom there. And then look over the other shoulder so you can see if you can move your hips so you can look a bit closer. And go the other way. So just do that a couple of times. Work with the breath. And then from here, you're going to gently, so I'm going to move the sides here, you're going to gently stretch that right foot out, curl the toes under. So you can either stay there, it depends on how pregnant the lady is, or you're going to lift up and lift up the left leg. So it's like this is Superwoman thing. So you're hugging the baby in here. It's also stabilizing the pelvis and the lower back. But if it's too much for them, they're very pregnant, they can have their foot down. Okay, so it's just, we're working with stabilization here. And then drop that down. Let's do the other side. So stretching out gently, curling the toes under the left leg. And then if it's available to them, they lift up that leg and stretch out the opposite arm, the right arm, finding the breath. So push back with the heel. So you're flexing that foot. Bringing stability into this area. And then from here, You can either, again, depending on how pregnant or how tired they are, wide-legged child's pose, because they've obviously got a bit of a bump going on here. Or if they've got more energy, they want more of a stretch out, coming into downward facing dog. And if you're in downward facing dog, you're going to move your hips side to side, move your heels up and down, move in any way that feels good for you tonight. Or just stay and breathe, working with your breath and being accepting of where you are just now. Slowly coming back down onto your knees. We're all coming back into tabletop again. And then from here, you're going to step forward with your right foot. So we're coming into a lunge. You're just going to be a bit wider than you usually are with your lunge. And from here, you're going to move slowly back and forth. So as you move slowly back and forth, when you move back, you're going to flex that foot towards you, lift the toes off the mat. So really working with the stretch here, keeping the shoulders relaxed, working with the breath. You're trying to, this is also helping to open up the psoas muscle, the muscle of your soul. It gets all tight and it gets all worried with itself there. Then coming back to neutral spine, you're going to take your right hand down and inhale, stretch that left arm up to the sky. So you're creating space for the baby here and really opening up the shoulders. Slowly coming back down onto your hands and knees, neutral spine, listening to your body. And then when you're ready, stepping that left foot back. So remember this, it's a bit wider. You're giving your pelvis that little bit more space. That left hand's the inside of the left foot. And again, dynamic as in you're moving, not fast. You're going back and forth. And when you move back, flex that left foot. So you're really stretching out the body here. Work with what feels good for you, making sure there's no tension in your jaw and shoulders. We're just really starting to get the blood flowing a little bit more, like the prana, the stability, all in this pelvic area. So we want to work with apana, the vayu that's downward moving, that comes into this pelvic area. So we're creating stabilization, and we're really apana, or however the way you want to work with is a vayu you need to work with here. So now you're taking that left hand and the inside of the left foot. Inhale, take that right arm up. So it doesn't matter where your gaze is. It's where your cervical spine, where your neck feels good, opening up in that right shoulder. Now, you tend to hold a lot of tension in your shoulders and your neck when you're pregnant, or especially after you've had a baby, or if you're in pain, if you're in chronic pain. So there's a lot of pelvic pain going on. You know, there's a lot of ladies end up with pelvic pain, and they hold that pain in their shoulders and their neck. So slowly coming back down here into neutral spine again. And again, you're going to sit back in child's pose, or coming into downward facing dog again. So listening to your body, checking in with yourself, seeing where you're at. And then from here, you're going to slowly roll yourself up to standing. Coming into Tadasana. Now, as a pregnant person, or if you've got things going on with your hips, you're going to have you're not going to be standing in normal Tadasana. You're going to have your feet a little bit wider now. So shoulders are back and down, tuck the tailbone in slightly, slight internal rotation of the thighs. Really imagine you're calling in the goddess within, into your heart center. So you can work with Kali Mudra here. Kali is she's the wild goddess, the one that you can see her in the background here. I've got her in my living room. She's the goddess that a lot of people are scared of, but she's the destroyer, but she clears the way to bring good things in. So she's fierce, but she's fierce with love. So Kali Mudra is this. So we're calling in the goddess Kali. Take your arms up over your head, and we're just going to circle our hips. Working with the breath. Round the other way. And then take your hands back down, close your eyes and breathe into your heart center. Okay, so we're going to work with some pelvic floor stuff and some things to really, so this is again when you're working with the breath, is different here. So what you're going to do is you're inhaling to come down into it's just a small squat. And then as you exhale, this is like a bit like I've got the Alan Partridge t-shirt on. It looks a bit like an Alan Partridge move, this. So you're inhaling, taking your arms slightly up. You're not taking them all the way up because you don't want to stretch too much here, yeah? So inhale, and then as you exhale, you're coming up and you're bringing your hands back and pushing the pelvis forwards. So let's do this a couple of times. So inhaling, coming into this gentle squat, exhaling. So when I was doing this the other day, my neighbours walked past and had a look in and wondered what I was doing. But this is a really great way of bringing some stability into the spine as well. So what we're doing now, every time you exhale now, you're pulling up the pelvic floor. Okay, so you're inhaling to squat down, exhaling to come up, pull the pelvic floor up. So really work with your pelvic floor now. And then keeping standing in Tadasana, coming to the back of your mat, listening to where you are now. We're going to move into a sun salutation that's good for all stages of pregnancy here. So it's a little bit easier. So you're starting off inhaling, arms up, exhaling, hands to heart center. Inhaling, hands up. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Inhaling up. And then exhaling, you're coming to sit. Come down into Malasana. Now, if your hips are feeling really unstable here, if you have had hip surgery or if there's anyone with pelvic girdle pain, you're going to put lots of props and stuff like that underneath you. So it's where you're at today. A lot of people can't take their heels down, and don't worry about that either. Sometimes your Achilles heels are short. This is a great way for allowing the baby to really drop down and come down. But if your baby's in breech position, Malasana is not the pose to do if you still want the baby to turn. Okay, so this is something that you shouldn't be working with. So from here, moving from Malasana forwards into tabletop position, and we're going to move into something called swooping cat. Okay, so with swooping cat, it's a little bit like a variation of like an easy way of doing chaturanga. So you're inhaling, coming down, and exhaling, curving your spine down and sitting back. So inhaling, swooping forwards, exhaling to come back. So we'll do that 3 more times. You're going to try and do it 5 times. But if your ladies are very pregnant or tired, they don't have to do it so many times. So really get yourself to, or even if you're tired as well, just listen to what feels right for you. Working with your swooping cats. And then either keeping your bottom up and coming into, you know, an extended cat, or is this puppy pose? Or you can stay in puppy pose, or coming into downward dog, just to stretch out your body. Staying here for a few breaths. As you exhale, draw the belly back. As you inhale, open up in the chest. Slowly walking your hands towards your feet and then gently curling back up into Tadasana. Closing your eyes, checking in with yourself, seeing where you're at. We're going to do that one more time, okay? So inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, slowly coming down into Malasana. If it feels good for you, you need lots of props. You might need lots of props. And then from here, slowly coming into tabletop. And then we'll do 5 swooping cats. So keep the shoulders relaxed, the elbows tucked in. When you've finished, coming into your extended cat or your puppy pose or your downward dog. Or if your lady is very tired, come into child's pose. So it's where you're at today. Everyone's at different stages in life, but especially if you've got pregnant people. We all feel things in different ways, and our bodies are also different. Then from here, bring your hands close to your feet and slowly, slowly curling back up into Tadasana. Close your eyes, check in with yourself. Imagine you're breathing in and out through your heart center, calling in that goddess Kali. So from here, opening your eyes, crossing your right foot over that left ankle. Take the left arm up and you're just gently stretching to the side. So just bringing a nice stretch into the side of the body, relaxing the right shoulder, relaxing your jaw. Slowly bringing that arm down. Listen to your body, see where you're at. And then let's do the other side. So crossing the right over the left, taking that right arm up, and then stretching over, relaxing that right shoulder, finding your breath. You might find one side feels different to the other. And then releasing. So we're going to move to find a bit of wall. So I'll move this over here so you can see what I'm up to. So coming to the wall, and we're going to start off with, it's like a forward bend. So you're taking your hands to the wall and you're just coming forwards. You're not really dipping into the lumbar spine. So let's see if I can do this. You're not dipping into the lumbar spine. It's not. You're going to try and keep hugging in with your TVA muscles, and you're not dropping your head down either. So it's a forward bend. It's just giving your spine a little bit of an extension, so you feel supported and stable. So your feet are a little bit wider than hip width apart. And then you tend to, when you're pregnant, I know I did, you get a lot of cramping in your calves. So you're now going to take that left foot forwards, and you've got your hands to support you, and you're just stretching, bending that left knee, and bringing a nice stretch into the back of the right calf here.
And then gently release it. Let's do the other side. So bending the right knee, stretching that left leg back, breathing into it, feeling that lovely stretch. Make sure you're not holding any tension in the jaw, the shoulders. Then coming to the side of the mat, the wall here. So your left hand's onto the wall, bending that right knee, and you're just going to hold onto that right foot. So give your quads a nice stretch. Now, this might be where they're at right now, but some of them might want to come forwards into a variation, not too much of a back bend, but a little bit of a variation of Natarajasana. So just you're more supported here, stretches out the quads. It gives you a little bit of an opening in the shoulders and the chest, as well as a little bit of a back bend. Then release, you're going to go to the other side. Either standing here, just stretching out the quads, and that might be where they're at, or a nice gentle Natarajasana. So you're not coming into the full expression of it here. There's no gold stars if you're all stretchy and like pulling things. And then release. And then a nice way of stretching out the shoulders is standing at the side of the wall, and you're taking your left hand, the palm of your left hand to the wall. So your shoulder, your left shoulder is close to the wall, and then you can actually stretch the arm back as far as feels good to you. Come away from the wall, move closer to the wall. You're just listening to where you're at, remembering that there's lots of hormones going on in a pregnant person's body that they're more liable to injure themselves. So they have to really listen to the sensations in their body, but we hold so much tension there. It's a good way of opening up. So releasing that, and let's do the other side. So again, you're going to have your palm on the wall, and then you can stretch the arm back. You can have yourself a little bit closer, a little bit further away. Listen to what feels good for you. Breathing into this nice stretch. So shouldn't be painful or uncomfortable. It's just a nice way of really bringing your body back into itself. Okay, so then from here, moving back to the back of your mat, coming back into Tadasana, and then we're going to move into another sun salutation. So inhale, arms up, exhale, hands to heart center, inhaling, arms up, exhale, hands to heart center, inhale, arms up, exhale to come down into Malasana, squatting down. Looking pretty good. The other light on now, it's getting a little bit dark. The nights are drawing in here. So coming into Malasana, if you need props, that's fine and dandy, that's okay. And then take your right hand down towards that right foot and stretch that left arm up. And again, we're really opening up the shoulders, but we're creating space. So it's a bit of a twist, but you're not twisting to squash the baby. You're just really bringing the apana into that area. You're really, you're helping to bring prana into that area. So release down, and then let's go all the way back up the other way now. So also you're really opening up in the shoulder area too. And then from here, moving on to tabletop again, and then sitting back in the wide-legged child's pose. And hands down on either side, gently pushing up. Curl the toes under, sitting back on these curled toes. Now that might feel a little bit uncomfortable, like we don't exercise our toes enough. So just see where you're at with that. We're trying to just really get things moving here. And also, this is also a great way of, you're stimulating various meridian points or nadis, so that's actually going to help with a sluggish system. So they tend to get a little bit, your digestive, you tend to be constipated quite a lot. So from there, slowly curling back up, and we're moving slowly into triangle pose, Utthita Trikonasana. So it's different when you're pregnant here. And because we're working with the feminine, so normally you would begin with the right foot. This is us being active, this is us working with the yang. Because we're really trying to embrace the feminine, we're going to begin with the left. So stepping forward with the left foot, and instead of being heel to instep, it's almost like a little bit of a train track, as I said. It's a shorter stance as well. So take your arms up. I'm going to go this way so you can see. Your arms up, and then you're going to exhale to slowly bring the left hand down, and then looking up at that right hand, and then curling the right arm behind your back and look down at that foot. Relax that left shoulder. Extend through the torso. Inhaling to come up, and then exhaling to go the other way. So reverse triangle. So we're going to now gently move from one way to the next. So just like moving, flowing with the breath. Doesn't matter if you're exhaling, inhaling, as long as you're breathing. And then you're turning to the side of your mat into goddess pose. So curling the tailbone under. And I'll go this way so you can see me. Okay, so we're working with a really lovely breathing technique that is about really giving us this fierce, powerful Kali energy as a woman. So what you're doing is, again, we're working with breathing out through the mouth. So you're breathing in, taking your arms out, and breathe out. Curl your fists in and breathe through the mouth. Inhale, exhale through the mouth. Inhaling, slowly coming back up. Moving to the front of your mat into Tadasana, a bit of a wider stance. Checking with yourself, shoulders back and down, tuck the chin in, feel the connection of the earth, of your feet to the earth, and feel that invisible thread pulling your head up to the heavens. And then we're going to go to the other side. So you're going to take your right foot forwards now. So moving into triangle on the other side now. So you're going to take that right hand down and stretching up, looking up at that left hand. And then the left hand's coming behind your back. Looking down at that right foot. So you're opening up in the shoulders here, extending through the torso. Remember, you've got more of a train track of a stance here. Relax that right shoulder. Inhaling to come back up into Utthita Trikonasana. Exhale to go into reverse Trikonasana here. And then we're flowing with our breath. Coming into turning to go turning into goddess again. Okay, and let's do that breath again. So curl the tailbone under slightly, breathe in through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhaling to come back up, and then moving to the back of your mat, coming into Tadasana. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, coming down into Malasana. And then moving back into tabletop position now. So from tabletop position, what we're going to do here is you're going to take this right foot forwards. It's a lunge, but you're going to do it like a diagonal lunge. So this is a really great way, especially the more pregnant they are, or if you've got hip issues, you're taking it so you've got a little bit of a diagonal going on. So you're giving the pelvis a little bit more space. So it's a lunge, but the foot is wider than the mat. So again, you're moving back and forth here with the breath. And then take the right hand to the inside of the right foot, another nice stretch up. And then bring it back down. Slowly coming back into tabletop, and then bringing the left foot forwards. And again, working with the breath, really bringing awareness in here. Take the left hand to the inside the left foot and stretch that right arm up. Another, we're doing a lot of shoulder opening, you might have noticed. From here, slowly moving back into tabletop, and bring that right arm underneath through that area, coming into a thread the needle pose. So it's dependent on where the bump is or how the lady's feeling. She can have pillows. You can use as many props as you want. This also stimulates the heart meridian in different, from the yin perspective. This is a great way of starting to open up various meridians. Coming back up. Let's do the other side. So you're really not coming into a full expression of it. You're just moving gently into where you're at just now. Connect to your breath. Slowly coming back up. And then coming into a wide-legged Balasana, child's pose. And gently pushing yourself up. Coming into seated position. Now for anyone that's really got pelvic pain, or if they've got hip issues, you can put blocks underneath you, or if you want to put blocks underneath you, remember it feels a bit like a Monday night for some reason. I don't know what that's all about. So you're coming into Upavista Konasana, but if you've got pelvic pain or anything like that, you've got to try and keep the legs a bit more closer together. So you really work with, don't have big hip openers. So we're working with a wide-legged Janu Shirshasana here. I'm coming off, I'm not loving this block thing here. Right foot's coming to the inside of that left thigh. You're flexing that left foot towards you, but there's an angle here because again, you're creating space. So we're not twisting to come over this leg. You're going to slowly move into just a gentle forward bend. So remember, there might be a big bump here in front of you. So just breathe into where you are, flexing that left foot towards you, keeping the jaw and the shoulders relaxed, a slight Jalandhar Bandha. You can also tucking the chin in. So with every inhale, lengthen through the spine. Every exhale, just allow yourself to go a bit deeper. Slowly coming back up. You can take your hands behind your back here and just open up the chest a little bit. And then getting your peace fingers, your left peace fingers, to try and hold on to that left foot. And you can just stretch it out a little bit here. So it doesn't matter what you look like or if you can do it, it's all good. So you can, if you want a bit of a twist here, giving the baby some more space, looking over that right shoulder. So again, work with where you are. Taking that left foot over the bent knee. And again, you're looking over that right shoulder. You're creating space here. So it's a twist with space. You're not doing any closed twists. Releasing, coming back into Upavista Konasana. Listening to your body, checking in with yourself. And then taking that left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Flex that right foot towards you. And then exhaling to come forward. So again, listening to where you're at tonight. It's not about how great your shape is. Breathe into your sacrum, your lower part of your back here. Give it a little bit of nurturing and love. Slowly coming back up. Take your hands behind your back. And again, just a nice little gentle opening in the chest. And then getting your right peace fingers, wrapping them around that big toe, left hand's behind your back. If you want, you can look over that left shoulder, coming into a bit more of a twist here, but just be where you're at. And then take that right foot and take it over the bent left knee. Take your right hand to the inside of the right thigh and looking over that left shoulder again. So it's gentle. You're not doing a deep expression of a twist. You're trying to get some prana going in there, but you're listening to your body. There's no closed twist. You're creating space in this area. Slowly releasing. Because we've done two asymmetric poses, take your legs out in front of you and slowly and gently come into a symmetrical pose and just listen to where you're at. So working with asymmetry and then working into symmetry helps you find the imbalances, because you find when you do one side than the other, they feel different. It's perfectly normal. Okay, so from here, gently coming up, and this is if you've got a bolster, you've got cushions, anything like that, we're going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana. So so this is the reclined bound angle pose. So take your feet together. But if you've got hip issues and you feel that's too much of an opening, you're just going to place some blocks or cushions underneath your knees, and you're going to come into a reclined position with your legs together. We don't want too much instability here. There shouldn't be too many hip openers, but this is a great way for if you don't have issues there, it's a good way of creating that openness and blood flow into there. So you can put loads of blocks, loads of cushions underneath you. So it's like helping to open up. So you can place, if you've got blocks or cushions, place them, if your knees are up to the sky, it doesn't matter, you can place them underneath the thighs or underneath where they drop to. So you don't feel that your body's working too much. So see where I've got my blocks are kind of underneath my ankles and just underneath my bottom here. So it helps to keep you feeling supported. So placing your hands onto your baby or the womb area here, and just relaxing your shoulders, breathing into your heart center. Feeling grateful for all the love in your life that you receive and that you give out. Now from here, if you are in Supta Baddha Konasana, draw the knees up towards you. And then remove the blocks if you've got blocks. You can remove the cushion underneath you or keep the cushion there. Some of you might want to, we're going to move into a reclined twist. So again, you might want to place, your hips will be coming off the ground. You can place blocks under the knees. And you're just going to take your arms over your head if that works for you, but you might find that's too much of a stretch in the lower area, so your hands are down. So it's not about the shape, it's about just feeling that slight, the slight movement within your spine here, just to give after working with it, you're just trying to bring it back into neutrality. Breathing into that, and then slowly coming back to center, and then dropping your knees down to the other side again, taking blocks, cushions. You might want to place blocks between your legs. You might want to, if the lady is feeling uncomfortable there, cushions in between the thighs as opposed to keeping them up. So it's about moving with what feels right with you as opposed to what looks good. So connecting to your breath. And then from here, preparing yourself for Shavasana. So you might want to stay with your cushions under your back. If there's lots of pregnant ladies, they're going to move onto their side with all their cushions. I've had pregnant ladies that I used to say to them, you don't need all the gear. They used to bring in 2 pillows from their bed, like just normal pillows for their Shavasana. So in Stonehaven Bowling Club, that was a long time ago, I had quite a few pregnant ladies, and they used to really enjoy they'd have their pillows, bringing in their pillows. And with COVID times, if you're teaching in real life, people should be bringing in their own stuff anyway. So coming into Shavasana, and again, we're coming back to the golden thread breath. So breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. Really coming back into that. So place one hand on your heart and one hand in your belly. Just let go of the golden thread breath. I'm going to read you a poem. this poem is by a lady that she does quite a few nice poems for Shavasana. So I thought you guys might like it. So she's called Dana Folds. And this poem is called Allow. There is no controlling life. Try corralling a lightning bolt, containing a tornado. Dam a stream and it will create a new channel. Resist and the tide will sweep you off your feet. Allow and grace will carry you to higher ground. The only safety lies in letting it all in. The wild and the weak, fear, fantasies, failures and success. When loss rips off the doors of your heart, or sadness veils your vision with despair, practice becomes simply bearing the truth. In the choice to let go of your known way of being, the whole world is revealed to your new eyes. So starting to bring your awareness back into the room, back into where your body is lying on the floor. You can begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretching your arms over your head, away from your body. Stretching your feet away from your body. Pulling your knees in, giving yourself a wee hug. And instead of rolling to your right, you're going to roll to your left. Now, if you're pregnant, this is all about your vena cava. So it's like not putting too much pressure in there. You've got lots of blood flowing there. It's also moving to the left. You're moving to the feminine side too. And then gently and slowly coming back up to seated position. Placing your hands in Anjali Mudra. We're going to do another little mudra flow before we end with an Om. So you're taking your hands down into Yoni Mudra and taking them back up into Lotus Mudra. So bringing them down and coming back up. And let's do it with them now in a different way. So you're taking the backs of your hands down and then bringing them all the way back up into Lotus Mudra. So the backs of your hands are coming down. You're bringing them back up, Lotus Mudra, into Anjali Mudra. One more time. And we're going to end with an Om. Here we go. Namaste. Thank you for practicing yoga with me tonight.